What is going on, YouTube? Joe here with Culination Media, and welcome back for another live Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle against a subscriber/follower on Twitter. Today, we are going up against Alex here in an RU battle. We're going to be bringing the same team as last time. Unfortunately, we did suffer some hacks in the last battle, so I'm hoping that does not repeat itself. Hoping for a clean match, and we'll see what happens. So, as for the team here, we have our bulk up Gurdurr, which was able to put in a decent amount of work last time, so we'll see if it can put in some more work today. Then we have Choice Scarf Haunter, which is a lot of fun to use. The Scarf Destiny Bond is pretty dangerous. Then we have Physically Defensive Quillfish, which really got screwed over by the hacks last time. And then we have an interesting core in the Specs Reuniclus with Future Sight and the mixed Houndoom with Life Orb and Pursuit. So things like Slowking, we can easily Pursuit Trap them and either get a lot of damage off or just kill them outright. Basically, it usually forces my opponents to have to sack a Pokemon because there's not a lot of things that enjoy taking either a Specs Future Sight or a Pursuit. So that is that. Dark types obviously are a problem, but I do have Gurdurr for those. So, and actually my opponent doesn't have any dark types. So, looking at his team here, the only thing that would like to take a Future Sight would be that Bronzong, but that does not like Houndoom at all because Crunch and Fire Blast both do a lot of damage to it. And the last member of the team is our specially defensive Moodoo, the Miltank, which is also our Stealth Rocker and our Cleric because it does have the Heal Bell. So, we will see here. He does have the Rapid Spinner in the, what do you call it? The Hitmontop. There we go. Had a little bit of a brain fart there. But I do have a Spin Blocker in my Haunter. And because he has a Rapid Spinner, I don't think that Braviary is going to be Defog. The Rotom is most likely, looking at the construction of this team, I want to say that Braviary is going to be Choice Scarf, and the Rotom is going to be Specs. The Bronzong and the Gastrodon are likely his defensive mons. Actually, that Hitmontop could be defensive as well. And of course, we see the Banette, because every time I do RU Wi-Fi battles, at least 2 of the battles have Banettes. People just love that thing. To be fair, there aren't a lot of Megas that are available in RU that are viable, so I guess that explains it. Banette is just fun to use besides that, so he's actually going to lead off with the Banette, and I can open up by taunting him because he does not get Prankster until the turn after he evolves, or Mega Evolves, I should say. So I can prevent him from Will-O-Wisping me or doing anything along those lines, especially because he's probably just got a knockoff here. Do I have anything that I would like to take that? Not really. I mean, Houndoom is a pretty solid answer for this, but I don't want it to get too weakened. Actually, having its Life Orb removed could help me out, depending, because I'm probably going to need it to hit the Rotom and the Bronzong. So yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, Houndoom is actually pretty essential for this battle. Like, in the last battle, it was not really essential at all. It was just used as a sack, basically. But it's going to be a little bit more essential to our victory this time. So I am going to actually just go for the Spike and not worry about the taunt. And the reason for that is because I want to bait him to go for Will-O-Wisp the following turn and get a safe switch into Houndoom. So he's most likely just going to go for knockoff here, as that is indeed what he does. And we get the Spike up, which is going to pressure his team. So that's great. Unfortunately, only half his team is affected by the Spike, because he's got Levitate, Bronzong, and the Braviary and the Rotom, which are all immune to it, obviously. But the extra damage on Hitmontop and Banette switching in and out is going to be very beneficial. And the Gastrodon, too, because that thing is so bulky. That thing's going to be a problem. I can feel it already. I can feel it. I just have that feeling in my gut. But I'm going to predict the Will-O-Wisp and switch into my Houndoom here. And he's going to give me a free Flash Fire boost. I'm very tempted to go for a Pursuit here, predicting him to switch, because that is most likely going to be a dead thingamajiggy, or close to it, depending. I mean, I'm Life Orb. Why would you stay in, though? He's got nothing that he can do other than Destiny Bond. Oh, he actually is going to stay into Destiny Bond here. I was not anticipating that, especially because Banette does put in a number against the rest of my team. So, yeah, that Pursuit definitely would have killed if he switched out, that's for sure, because it does double the damage. So we do get the damage off in the Banette, which is great, but I don't want to sack Houndoom because, like I said, it's so useful for the rest of his team. He might go for Destiny Bond again, and since I only have attacking moves, I could also go for Sucker Punch because I don't lose anything by doing that. If he does go for Shadow Sneak or Sucker Punch of his own or knockoff, actually he has to have one of those. Probably Shadow Sneak. Yeah, I don't lose anything by going for Sucker Punch, but I can also get another switch into my Qwilfish here, get another Intimidate off, and then I can potentially get up more spikes. So I'm very tempted to do that, and by tempted, I mean I'm going to do it. So we're going into Qwilfish. I don't really need it for much else on his team anyway, and he does actually just go for knockoff here, so I could have killed him with a Sucker Punch, I suppose, but... oh yeah, he had Destiny Bond active. Good thing I didn't do that. Talking about how I don't have anything to lose. Yeah, I have Houndoom to lose. Good thing, yeah, my mind is a lot smarter than the words that come out of my mouth. Because if I followed what I said a lot of times, I would lose all the time. Thankfully, my brain is just smarter than the words that come out of my mouth because sometimes they're just ridiculous. So I can set up another spike here as he is actually going to pull a switch and go into his Gastrodon because I cannot touch that. He may have been predicting a Scald there as well. He really doesn't have anything to lose by going into Gastrodon, and he could also have been predicting Toxic Spikes, and that actually looks very useful right about now. If I had that, this Gastrodon would not be an issue at all. But what is this thing likely carrying? Scald, Earth Power, Recover, Toxic maybe as the final move. It could also be carrying Ice Beam for grass types. Ice Beam does absolutely nothing to my team. I have nothing weak to it, and a slew of resistances, including Miltank. Miltank actually does take on this relatively easily. I'm going to switch in Miltank here. I would like to get my rocks up as well for the Braviary and the extra damage on the Banette. Yeah, because I was kind of expecting a Earth Power there. Didn't necessarily want to sack my Qwilfish just yet. So, going to switch in Moodoo on that, and she takes the Scald very well. No burn. Not that it would matter because I can just go for Heal Bell, and we can fire off a Body Slam. I don't think he's going to want to switch in something like Banette just because I could have Scrappy. So, I mean, that would just be sacking it, and he might want to save that Destiny Bond. So he actually is going to switch out into the Bronzong. So he will be able to get a Rocks here if he wants. And there's really nothing I can do about it. That is unfortunate for my Houndoom, because that's just extra damage on top of the Life Orb damage that I'm going to be taking. Not the end of the world, because, you know, Houndoom is pretty frail anyway. I would just need to watch out for a potential Mach Punch on that Hitmontop. So if he does go into the Hitmontop, I'm going to have to switch out Houndoom. But I would most likely do that. Anyway, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I do need to switch here. It doesn't really behoove me to stay in with a Miltank that only has Body Slam. I mean, realistically, I'd have nothing to hit him with anyway. Because if he's Levitate, Earthquake obviously does nothing, and Fire Punch is a non-stab move. So that really wouldn't do too much. If I was carrying Toxic, that obviously does nothing to a Steel type anyway. So I am actually going to switch into Houndoom here. There's not really much he can do. He could set up screens if he wants, but he's most likely just going to set up the rocks. So getting Houndoom in before the rocks is something that could be very good for me. And that is indeed what he does go for, because he really had nothing to lose by going for that. I couldn't stop it. So having it up for that Houndoom specifically is not bad at all. Now, he could go into the Gastrodon here, but I'm going to click Fire Blast anyway, because it does a lot of damage to everything except for that Gastrodon. And if he does switch it in, he also has to take hazard damage, which is going to pressure him to recover, which means I get a safe switch into whatever I want. So it's playing the momentum game right here, I guess, and whittling down his team. If I can get some damage off on this Bronzong and he leaves it in, that would be fantastic, especially if he goes for Light Screen. I can crunch him the following turn and he's dead. But he actually does leave it in, and Fire Blast does a solid 75%, and he is going to set up the Light Screen here, which means I can hit him with a Protect the following turn. He does not show lefties, so he's most likely carrying the Light Clay, so we're going to have to deal with that Light Screen for 8 turns. I could even Pursuit if I wanted to. I'm tempted to click Pursuit here, because I feel like he's going to switch out. Because Dark Pulse will still kill, or Fire Blast, even with the light screen. So I'm assuming he's going to want to save this just in case he can get up a last-ditch screen later on against something else on my team. But I'm actually going to click Crunch, as he does switch, but that Bronzong isn't really too much of a threat. I'd rather get the extra damage on this Gastrodon, which does have to take a little bit from the Spikes and the Stealth Rock, plus Crunch. I'm hoping he's specially defensive, because if he is, he's dead in 2 hits here. But it looks like he is physically defensive, as that Crunch did nothing. That did absolutely nothing. Gastrodon, too bulky for me. Unfortunately, we are weak to both of his stabs, so we're going to have to switch here. He could go for Recover, but, I mean, I'm just going to start whittling myself via Life Orb, and I need to switch back in to potentially hit that Rotom anyway, so I don't want to take unnecessary damage if I can help it. So we're going to save Harold here, and the question is, what do I want to go into? I could go into a number of things, but I'm actually going to go into Gurdurr, because this is setup fodder. Because the most he can do is Scald. If he does burn me, then I'm going to get my thingamajiggy. What do you call it? My Guts. But it turns out he actually has Yawn. I was thinking he might have Toxic as his last move, or Ice Beam. But Yawn is actually really bad, because that forces switches, and I'm guessing that's what he was banking on there. That sucks. I should have stayed in and went for Crunch. I mean, there's no way for me to predict that he had Yawn there, but still, if I did go for Crunch, that was a 2-hit KO from that point, even with lefties. So I could have forced him to switch. I gladly would have let my Houndoom fall asleep if it meant getting rid of this, because I could deal with Rotom in different ways. I'm actually going to let Heath go to sleep here. And oh, he goes for Skull. Burn me. Burn me. That'd be great. No, of course he doesn't get the burn. That would be so amazing if he burned me ahead of the Yawn taking effect. He definitely predicted me to switch there. I don't know what he was predicting me to switch into. But we do get rid of the lefties, and to me that's worth it, because that extra passive recovery is just terrible for my team. I don't know how I'm going to kill this thing. Part of me wanted to run Energy Ball on Reuniclus just for Gastrodon, because it's that annoying. But I did not do that. I have Psychic instead. So I'm going to burn a Sleep turn here, as he is going to be able to recover up, and he's likely going to switch this following turn. So I'm going to get to see what he switches into. And burn another Sleep turn. Possibly wake up and get a Bulk Up off as well. So we'll see what happens here. I don't see him staying in. There's no reason for him to do that. He's shown 3 of his moves. His 4th move, I mean, I guess it could be any of those other moves that I outlined earlier. It could be Ice Beam for grass types. It could be Earth Power for Dual Stab. And it could be Toxic. But he also has the Yawn, so I'm going to assume it's not Toxic. It's got to be Earth Power or Ice Beam. And I don't know if we're going to find out later. I'm assuming, because I can't kill this thing in 1 hit. So, man, Gastrodon is so annoying. He's going to go out into his spin move, the Hitmontop. And I'm going to switch regardless if I wake up or not here, I think. Because I don't want to sacrifice my hazards. He's going to intimidate me anyway. And we do burn another Sleep turn. But we're not going to wake up. So that kind of stinks. Really unusual for me to just let something fall asleep via Yawn there, but I felt like it was worth it to trade the lefties for falling asleep, because he doesn't really have anything that immediately threatens me that much, at least at this point. So I made that trade-off. I'm going to block the Rapid Spin by going into Haunter here, and he's going to predict that actually very nicely and go for the Stone Edge. That's the only move that this could actually have to hit me with, because, you know, Mach Punch does nothing, Counter does nothing, Toxic does nothing, Earthquake. Basically everything that he would have, Haunter is immune to, except for Stone Edge, because this thing doesn't get knockoff. Still doesn't kill me, and I could very easily just Destiny Bond here and remove his spinner altogether if he does decide to go for another Stone Edge here. I don't know if he's going to want to risk that miss. I'm also somewhat tempted to switch out, but I really don't want him spinning. Getting the extra damage off with a Sludge Bomb could be nice. Or I could just go for the residual damage and the burn. But he's going to be able to switch out before taking too much damage to potentially come back in and get that Rapid Spin off afterwards. I really don't want that. I would really like that Braviary to take that 25%, especially because I'm assuming that it is choiced, which is a problem for my team. So I will go for the Destiny Bond here. He does go for a second Stone Edge. Hits a second Stone Edge in a row, so congratulations on that. That is an accomplishment. Yeah, I mean, I hit a couple of, whatchamacallit, head smashes the other day when I was playing Battle Spot. I had a Relicanth. You guys probably watched that video already. I'm assuming that went up. But, yeah, I had a bunch of head smashes in a row, and I was really surprised. So, same accuracy as Stone Edge, so it is an accomplishment. But because he did hit the Stone Edge, we are going to be able to take him down via the Destiny Bond. And so his spinner is gone, which means if he doesn't have Defog on that Braviary, we are in a good position. He goes into sale 50% off. Yard sale, like lawn sale, is that what we're going for here with the with the Rotom? That's pretty cool, but especially because I went into Houndoom. I just needed him to not go into Gastrodon, basically. Now, the question is, do I want to predict this to be Scarf and switch something in on that? I do have a relatively safe switch into my specially defensive Miltank. It can't do much to me. But I really, really have a hunch that he is Specs or Life Orb, one or the other. Just because I have such a strong feeling that that Braviary, based on his team composition, is Scarfed. This is a critical decision. If I get rid of this, that's going to be huge. Do I want to do that? Do I want to stay in Fire Blast? This is tough. This is a tough decision. If I guess wrong, though, I don't know what I'm going to have for this. Because I'm pretty sure Volt Switch will kill me. I'm just going to go for Fire Blast. I think he is not Scarf. And it turns out that he's not Scarf, and we land a Fire Blast as well. We've landed 2 Fire Blasts. Have we landed 2, or is it 3? I don't know. We've landed a few Fire Blasts, and that Rotom is gone. So I think he was trying to bluff the Scarf there, I guess, by staying in. He had to have predicted me to fear the Scarf, and that's why he stayed in. But we get rid of the Rotom, and now he's going to go into the Banette. This is not going to be able to kill me with a Shadow Sneak. Sucker Punch, maybe, but it's a resisted hit. So, do I Sucker Punch? He may just Destiny Bond. Especially, he doesn't have too much to lose from that because he's at such a low HP. But I can just continually Sucker Punch. But, I mean, even still, he can Destiny Bond, and then, yeah, it doesn't matter. So, he's still going to be able to kill me, regardless. I still died at the Destiny Bond, so there's no reason in playing around that. I'm just going to go for the Pursuit in case he wanted to pull a double for some reason. I don't know. It didn't really matter. Either way, Houndoom did its job. It took out quite a few Pokemon. The Banette is gone, which means that Priority Will-O-Wisp and the knockoff out of the way. The Destiny Bond shenanigans are gone. So we each had a Pokemon that went down to Destiny Bond. That's pretty interesting. Now, the question is, what does he want to go into here? That Gastrodon is still a problem. Looking at my team, like, how am I going to kill that thing? I'm going to have to set up on it with Gurdurr. I've already burned 2 turns of sleep. What are the chances I get max sleep turns? Probably relatively high, considering that my luck has not been too good as of the last battle, that's for sure. I could go into Plasma here and just throw up a Future Sight, because nothing really wants to take that. He does have Bronzong, though, as he actually is going to go into his Braviary. Now, this can't kill me with the Brave Bird. If he is banded and he goes for a U-turn, that might do a lot. I don't know if that'll kill, but I know Brave Bird won't kill. So I could just take all that damage and finish him with a Psychic, but I'm actually going to not do that because I don't need Quillfish. It does not help me, especially against the Gastrodon, so there's really no reason for me to save it whatsoever, so I might as well get an Intimidate off on this thing, and either I can soften the blow on one of my other teammates, or force him to switch out and take more Hazards damage, which is great. So, there's the Intimidate. I'm expecting a Brave Bird here, and, oh, he actually does go for the U-turn, so he's going to take more Hazard damage, and we will get to see if he's Life Orb. So he gets a crit because poor Quillfish. I swear it's a Hax Magnet. That U-turn crit meant nothing, of course, but just the principle of it. Poor Quillfish. So he does not show Life Orb, which means he is almost certainly Scarfed, especially judging by the fact that that really didn't do a lot of damage, even with the crit, so I doubt that's banded. Almost certainly Scarf. At this point, I'm going to taunt this. I don't want it recovering. He's not getting passive recovery anyway, so that's really my only play. I mean, I guess I could Destiny Bond, predicting him to kill me, but I don't know if he has Earth Power, and he is going to actually reveal it here. I should have went for Destiny Bond. I don't know how I'm going to kill this thing. I was really hoping he'd try to recover, because then it would force him to attack me, and then I could Destiny Bond, and I hadn't shown that yet. So, he thwarted my plan. I guess that just wasn't the optimal play at that point. Really, the only way I'm going to be able to kill this is by going into Gurdurr. Because if I go into Plasma, he can just switch in Bronzong, which is still alive. So, yeah, and then Braviary comes in again, and then I have to take all that damage. I don't think Spec Psychic kills from there, because Gastrodon's just stupidly bulky. I'm better off going into Gurdurr, which has already burned quite a few sleep turns. Chances are relatively high that I will wake up. Tempted to just go for Drain Punch for damage, in case he does try to switch in the Braviary here. Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm just going to go for Drain Punch. But I am, unfortunately, going to stay asleep for a third turn, as he does get an Earth Power off. Please don't crit me. Thank you very much. That doesn't do too much. Actually, I might be able to take another one of those. Hopefully we wake up here. Otherwise, it's max sleep. Thankfully, we wake up, and we get a Drain Punch off. That extra turn of sleep kind of sucks, because it puts us behind the 8-ball. We had to take that extra damage. Even though we do get some back, he could very easily get lucky with a 10% chance to get a Spadef drop or get a crit. And at that point, I think I just lose. I need Gurdurr to be able to break through this. So the best case scenario is he decides to go for Scald, predicting a switch and trying to get a burn on something. And he burns me to activate my Guts. And then I get more HP back. But either way, I have to go for Drain Punch. I cannot risk going for the Bulk Up. Unfortunately, that's not going to kill him. And he is going to be able to recover here. He kind of had to, because if he didn't, then I could kill him with anything. So at this point, do I want to risk? Because if he goes for Scald and burns me, I'm dead. So that's not good if I bulk up. Looking at the rest of my team, I still am not confident that a Psychic will kill. I mean, I know it's going to do a lot of damage, but it's a Gastrodon, and I think it might be a damage roll, and I don't want to risk a damage roll because I just don't. So I'm going to Drain Punch. I feel like, again, that is my only play. This is going to get stally. This is really going to get stally. It's going to come down to who gets a crit, or if I can manage to get a bulk up, or if he goes for Scald and gets a burn to activate my Guts. That will speed things up a little bit. But he does just go for a recover, and at this point I actually am free to go for a bulk up if I want to, because he can't kill me. Scald plus burn I don't think kills. So we were able to get 2 turns off of Drain Punch action. Do I want to try to switch anything in? I mean, I don't know if that would do me any good. I think I'm better off just staying in with Gurdurr here. And I am actually going to Drain Punch. Get a little bit more HP back. And of course there is a chance that I get a critical hit, but it's just not happening. Not breaking through with that. And hoping for a, crit anyway is kind of a bad strategy. And unfortunately for him, he does go for the Scald and gets the burn this time, which means my Drain Punch is going to be doing a lot more now. He has to go for Recover here, which means I'm going to get a decent amount of HP back. I think that actually may have sealed the game for us, unless he is able to attack and get a crit. He really needed to try to go for those Spadef drop with the Earth Power, and if he got one, I think he would have won the match. That would have all but sealed it. So yeah, Drain Punch is going to do a little bit more damage, and he has to go for Recover, otherwise I just kill him the following turn, and we're going to get even more HP back. I don't think I can bulk up, though. I mean, unless I really want to predict another Recover here. But I don't want to make that. Don't want to make that play because that's just unnecessarily risky and could lose me the battle. He's actually going to switch and go into Roxy, the Bronzong, which takes like no damage from the Stealth Rocks, basically. and we're going to kill him with a Drain Punch. No way you're taking that. So we're going to get a little bit of HP back from that. Not much, because I don't think Bronzong has a lot of HP to begin with. Its defenses are great, but HP is not. So we do have to take the burn. That pretty much leaves us right where we were before, except now his Bronzong is gone. So that's one less thing that he could sack. But he wanted to get a safe switch into the Braviary. And I'm pretty sure a Mach Punch will kill. I'm relatively certain with Guts activated. Is it worth the risk, though? Like, that might be a damage roll, too. Because I did not get a bulk up. Now, I know for a fact that also that because he's Scarfed, he can't kill me if I go into Reuniclus. But, at the same time, Miltank is looking extremely useless at this point. It's not going to beat Gastrodon because he could potentially burn me, and I only have 8 heal bells. So, yeah, and he's physically defensive, so Body Slam is not going to be doing anything anyway. He has more attacking moves than me as well, because I just have Body Slam. So he is going to win that matchup, which means I am just going to sack this to a Brave Bird. After a Brave Bird, he will be in range of a Mach Punch for certain, and we won't have to risk anything. So, yeah, he does go for the Brave Bird, as anticipated, and this is going to do a lot. Yeah, that's going to be enough for a 2-hit KO. He takes all that recoil, and I actually think he's going to survive the recoil from the next turn. It looks like he's going to be in the red zone, not dead, which means we will have to take a turn of burn on Gurdurr, but it's not the end of the world, as he is just going to go for Brave Bird again. So we appear to be in a pretty decent position, because he's just going to be left with Gastrodon at that point, and even if he does crit me and kill me with Gastrodon, then I can go into Reuniclus to finish it off with a Specs Psychic, because that should be a 2-hit KO, because he doesn't have lefties. So that's my thought process right now. So I will just go for the Mach Punch. That is my only play. There's no reason for him to switch, because he dies via rocks, and he's just going to take unnecessary damage on Gastrodon, as we do get a meaningless critical hit. So Braviary goes down, and out comes the Gastrodon here in a second as his final Pokemon. This is a good battle. This is a good battle. Like I said before, I really do think that he had a decent shot at winning if he managed to get its Spadef Drop on the Earth Power. I think going for a Scald was probably the biggest misplay that he had in the match, if his only misplay. I don't think he played badly at all. That would be the only thing I could think of. And he might be kicking himself for that too, because he knows he gave me a Guts boost. So anyway, I'm going to go for a Drain Punch, and he is actually going to barely survive this. He has to go for Recover. That's the only... Oh, no, he goes for Earth Power. Okay, well, that's going to be the match then, because he can't kill me. We are going to die to the burn here, but he can't kill Reuniclus. So I am expecting him to actually outspeed me and recover, but I don't think he's going to be able to outlast the Psychics. To be completely honest, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this plays out. Really surprised he didn't recover there, but he's just going to continue to let me get HP back with Drain Punch if he didn't. So I guess I understand that that was his only chance to win. Yeah, I guess that was the right play. Just ignore what I have to say. So he does outspeed me because Reuniclus is slow as balls, and he will recover up here. But at like 55% of his max HP, I don't think he's taking a Psychic, and he just drops after that. Reuniclus bringing the match home for us. That is going to be a victory for us. Thank you very much for the battle, Alex. Not the Alex that we battled just a few matches ago in, what was that, NU? This is a different Alex. If you couldn't tell by the, whatchamacallit, the icon. But, yeah, if you see him down in the comment section below, of course, as always, be sure to give him a GG and all that good stuff. But that is going to be it for this time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We have one more battle with this team, so hopefully we get to see things like Reuniclus put in a little bit more work, because on the ladder when I used this, it was really tearing some things up. So we'll have to see. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you're leaving a like, rating, or a comment, or whatever you would like to do, of course, and I will see you all next time. But until then, game on.